morning everyone. Today my group and I will be presenting our topic Transportation Modes and Stakeholder Analysis, Electric Vehicles and Charging Infrastructure. In these presentations, we will discuss the background of electric vehicles, the current issues related to electric vehicles charging infrastructure in Malaysia, the stakeholders involved, and several recommendations to improve the electric vehicle ecosystems. Now, before we begin, let me introduce my group members. Now, I would like to introduce my team members. My name is Nura Eliana binti Abdullah. Together with me, we have Alanish Felicia Parish, followed by Junior Roland Anajanikar. Then we have Rory Masha Jeffrey, Violet Nurai Deli, and lastly, Athanasis Ma Anajavina. Together, we work as a team to prepare this presentation on electric vehicles and charging infrastructure in Malaysia. Without further ado, let's move on into the introduction of electric vehicles. So now, let me briefly introduce about electric vehicles. Electric vehicles are powered fully and particularly by electricity instead of petrol and diesel. Compared to other conventional vehicles, EVs produce lower or zero tailpipe emissions, helping to reduce air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions. In the story of EVs, that back to 1832 when the earliest electric vehicles was developed by Robert Edison. However, the first practical electric car was the Flocken Electro-wagons introduced in Germany in 1888. Today, the two main types of EVs and battery electric vehicles, which run entirely on electricity, and plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, which use both electric and petrol. In Malaysia, EVs adoption is increasing due to government incentive, the expansion of charging infrastructure, the introduction of local models such as Proton E-Mas 7. This develops support Malaysian goal to promoting cleaner and more sustainable transportations.
Now, I'm going to walk you through the core research and analysis regarding the transition to electric vehicles and the specific bottlenecks we are also facing here in Malaysia. First, we need to understand that the EV transition isn't one size fits all. Different vehicles require entirely different charging ecosystems. For instance, first, passenger cars rely on home AC charging and public DC fast chargers. Secondly, three-wheelers thrive on quick battery swapping stations. Third, heavy-duty trucks and buses need massive ultra-high-powered megawatt depot charging so they can stay on schedule. Scaling this up is a massive balancing act because every stakeholder wants something different. Consumers want cheap, widespread charging to cure their range anxiety. Manufacturers need infrastructure to match their vehicle rollouts. Commercial operators are chasing immediate profits, while utility companies are sweating over grid stability, pushing for regulations to avoid localized power surges. Now, let's look at the current situation in Malaysia, where our rapid EV growth is hitting a major wall. Right now, we are facing an infrastructure deficit. The country fell short of its federal target of 10,000 public charging bays, achieving just over 5,600 operational points. To make matters worse, there is a severe geographic imbalance. Most of these chargers are crammed into developed zones like the Klang Valley, Penang, and Johor. If you're traveling on rural highways or driving through East Malaysia, you are severely underserved, which makes long-distance holiday incredibly stressful. So, we also have two unique structural hurdles holding us back. First, the condo dilemma. A huge percentage of city residents live in high-rise condominiums because Malaysia lacks a clear right to charge. Building management bodies frequently block residents from installing private wallbox chargers, citing safety and grid load concerns. Secondly, high costs for operators. For commercial charge point operators, expanding is financially exhausting. To set up ultra-fast DC highway chargers, they are often forced to pay out of pocket for local grid upgrades or build entire substations. This massive upfront cost is completely stalling infrastructure expansion into less profitable rural areas. So to conclude, ultimately, if Malaysia wants to unlock its true EV potential, we have to bridge these geographic gaps, fix our high-rise regulations, and find a way to support the operators building the backbone of our grid.
So, I will present about stakeholder. First is government agency. Government agencies create policy and regulation to support EVs. They also provide tax incentive and build more charging stations. For example, in Sarawak, the government worked with Sarawak Energy to install charging station in Kochi. This helps reduce carbon emission and promotes sustainable transportation. Next is transport operator. Transport operators use EVs to reduce fuel and maintenance costs. They also help reduce air pollution by introducing electric buses and commercial EVs. More charging stations make it easier to operators to use EVs efficiently. Next is passenger and consumer. Passenger and consumer are the main users of EVs. They choose EVs based on price, charging convenience, and battery range. Government incentive and more charging stations increase public confidence in using EVs while helping reduce fuel consumption. Last is environmental group. Environmental group promote EV adoption and raise awareness about protecting the environment. For example, the Malaysia Green Technology and Climate Change Corporation encourage the use of green technology. Their efforts help reduce pollution and greenhouse gas emission. That's all for me. I will pass to the next presenter.
Hello, and now I will present section 4 Impact Assessment. Electric vehicles or EV are becoming more popular in Malaysia because they are more environmentally friendly than petrol cars. The government also encourages people to use EV by providing incentive and building more charging stations. Now, let's look at the positive effect. First, EV help reduce air pollution because they do not produce exhausted emission. This helps create cleaner air and reduce carbon emission. Second, EV owners can save money because electricity is cheaper than petrol and EV have a lower maintenance costs. Lastly, EV charging stations also create new business and job opportunity. Next are the negative effects. One challenge is that EV are still expensive to buy. Charging stations are also limited, especially in rural areas. Besides that, more EV increase electricity demand and used EV batteries must be recycled properly to protect the environment. In conclusion, EV bring many benefits to Malaysia, but there are still some challenges that need to be solved. With support from the government and other stakeholders, EV can become a better transportation choice in the future. Thank you, and I will pass to the next presenter.
Next, I will discuss the challenges and opportunities of electric vehicles in Malaysia. First, let's look at the challenges. Although the adoption of EVs is increasing, Malaysians still face several obstacles. One major challenge is the limited number of charging stations, especially in rural areas, which causes range anxiety among drivers. Another challenge is the high purchase price of EVs. Even though the governments provide tax exemption and incentive, EVs are still more expensive than conventional petrol vehicles because of their battery technology. In addition, replacing an EV's battery can be very costly and repairs often require specialized technicians. Lastly, public awareness of EV technology is still relatively low and many people still unsure about the benefits, charging process and overall performance of EVs. Now, let's move on to the opportunities. Electric vehicles offer many benefits for Malaysia. Government support through tax exemption and the National Energy Transaction Roadmap is encouraging more people to switch to EVs. At the same time, the number of charging stations is increasing, making EVs ownership more convenient. Besides reducing carbon emission and improving air qualities, EVs also have lower operating and maintenance costs than petrol vehicles. As Malaysian EV industry continues to grow, it also has a potential to attract investment in battery productions, vehicle assembly and other green technologies. It also can create more job opportunities and support the country's sustainable developments.
So for the 6.0 is proper solution and strategies. This is for support the growth of electric vehicles. There are three main strategies that recommended. First is the government should provide incentives such as tax reduction and build more charging stations. Second, The government and private companies should work together to improve EV technology and charging infrastructure. Finally, smart technology and public education can help people to understand the benefit EV and encourage more people to choose electric vehicle for a cleaner and sustainable in the future.
Based on our findings, we have several recommendations to improve EV adoption in Malaysia. First, the government should expand EV charging stations across the country, especially in rural areas. Second, more DC fast charging stations should be installed to reduce charging time. Third, home and workplace charging should be promoted to make charging more convenient. Next, the government can provide subsidies and tax incentives to encourage more people to buy electric vehicles. In addition, collaboration between the government and private companies is important to improve EV infrastructure. And lastly, these efforts will make charging more convenient and encourage more Malaysians to switch to electric vehicles. In conclusion, electric vehicles are important for reducing carbon emissions and creating a more sustainable future. However, Malaysia still faces challenges such as limited charging infrastructure and unequal access in some areas. By expanding charging stations, providing government support and strengthening public-private collaboration, EV adoption can continue to grow. That's all from me and my group. Thank you.